Welcome to the NBA Pub Hub, Pub Sports Radio, Friday, December 16th. The end of the week is here. Ian Cameron, Skee Prophet, Billy Briz, final show of the week, ready to break it down on this Friday. A big NBA slate. We've got 10 games on tap tonight. We'll start in Detroit, Motor City. We've got the Sacramento Kings and the Detroit Pistons. Sacramento, 5-point road favorites, 5.5, 6 now actually starting to show up in a couple books. 236 the total in this game. Both of these teams off victories in their previous game Wednesday night. The Pistons outlasting Charlotte 141-134 in a game where defense was optional really on both sides. Just was back and forth, and eventually it ended up being a Detroit Pistons victory in that game to snap a 3-game losing streak. Sacramento didn't start off well in Toronto, but boy, they finished strong. A great fourth quarter. They rally back to beat the Raptors 124-123 in that game, so it was good to see. Again, the Kings continue this very long road trip, the sixth and final game of this road trip, and a chance to go 500 on this road trip if they win tonight here in Detroit. Both of these teams off victories. We've got certainly from a injury or a personnel standpoint going into this game, things to note here. It looks like Werder's a game-time decision for the Sacramento Kings. Detroit looks to be relatively healthy here in this one. The way it sets up from a spot perspective, Sacramento, I think, has the onus. Much rather go 3-3 on this road trip than 2-4. I expect a pretty solid effort from them here in this game. I don't love the fact, though, they've played a lot of games in a condensed period of time. For Sacramento, this is going to be their fourth game in a 6-night span, all on the road, all with travel involved. That could be something that adds up to them. Don't have a strong feel for this game overall. I wanted to lean Sacramento, but I don't know if I want to lay 5.5, 6. I do lean over the total. I do think we'll see points. There's a part of me that thinks both teams will want to clean it up defensively after the last game, but part of me is also saying they're both shooting the ball better. Pace has been there. I think we might still see a higher scoring affair here with the Kings and the Pistons. What do you think here, Skee?
I hear or I've heard a few people talk about this game so far today, and everybody's just, from what I'm hearing, it's like Sacramento's the only team that could be tired in this situation, and Detroit, they've traveled the past 6 games. Whether it's home road or road, whatever the case is, they've been traveling too. And their last game, they're coming off an overtime game,
Yep.
and they got the W, so they could be tired and satisfied. So I think we throw that out of it and just look at both of these teams. Detroit, they lose by an average of 6.7 points per game so far at home, and every loss the last month has been by 6+. And we look at the Kings, they've been a road favorite 4 times. They've covered 3 of them. And when they play lesser competition, I have them as 8-2, 8-2 against the spread. And lesser competition is 45% when teams are less. So that's what they're facing today. They're clearly the better team. The last 5 game stats don't say that they've been playing better, but just look at who Sacramento's been playing lately. And 2 of those 5 games were without De'Aaron Fox. They get much easier competition today, and De'Aaron Fox is back in the lineup. So I think the Kings are the right side tonight. I wouldn't be mad if you took them early, but I think they'll cover the full game too.
All right, so lean first half, but doesn't mind the full game, 5.5, 6 on the road here, laying it with Sacramento for Skee. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Skee nailed it on that stat right there about the Pistons' average loss of recent for the last month. I think the Kings are a way to go here. It's not on my card, but heavy lean towards the Kings. They're 4-1-2 ATS in the last 7 meetings in Detroit, and 2-5 ATS in the last 7 meetings for Detroit against the Kings. So it seems like a King spot here. They should go 500 on this road trip.
All right, next up, we've got the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte here, 3-point home favorites in this game. The total, 240. Look at this total just going way up now here in this one, and I understand why that is. 4 straight overs for Atlanta. Charlotte now has gone over the total 4 of their last 5 games. Defense has been optional from them lately. I definitely see the case for points in this game. Problem is, I bet it this morning, or I think it was right before noon, and at that time it was 238 and a half. 238 and a half. Yeah, it was this morning I took it. It's up to 240 now. I still got to lean over, but it's getting up there. 240. Still could, I think, see that game go over the total. I don't want any part of the under. I did bet Charlotte as well. And look, I don't bet Charlotte very often. This is a 7-win basketball team that's only 4-10 at home. I get that. There's reasons not to trust this team because they've lost 6 in a row, but I am really down on Atlanta. As you guys know, I mean, I used Orlando as a best bet on Wednesday's show. They ended up winning wire to wire over the Atlanta Hawks in that game. There's real problems with the Atlanta Hawks. Defensively, no shows. We know the incident with McMillan and Trae Young. There's some dissension there as well. That's concerning. And on the road, we talk about Charlotte's been bad at home. It's not like Atlanta's been terrific on the road. 5-10 is their road record. So the money's come in on Charlotte. Oh, Gordon Hayward, by the way, has been upgraded to probable. That's a part as well of the reason probably for the Charlotte Hornet move. But I think it's a lot of it too. The betting markets, myself included. It's a negative sentiment on it for Atlanta right now, and I think for very good reason. Skee, what do you think here, Hawks and Hornets?
My bad. I'm absolutely not looking Atlanta's way, really, anytime in general, but especially on the road. Charlotte, I mean, they haven't been much better, but they get LaMelo back in the lineup. You know, he's out there dishing it out. So I think the Charlotte offense can only get better, be better. Last 5 games, I say they've been better. They're at the house. I would only look towards the Hornets here, man. And Atlanta, they've been a fade all year on the road in the first half as well. So Charlotte first half, full game. I didn't bet them, but that's the way I'm leaning. And if I'm going to pick a player, LaMelo Ball assists at 7.5 just seems like it's a little bit low right now.
Yeah. The one thing that does concern me too about the over, I still bet the over and I like it. Steve Clifford ripped apart his team for the defensive effort the other night against Detroit. He was not happy at all after that game ended. So maybe they show up at that end. That's all. But I like Charlotte too. So if I split, so be it. But I'm on both of them, Charlotte and the over. But maybe we will see a better defensive effort. And by the way, people were concerned LaMelo Ball coming back last game against Detroit. How many minutes would he play coming off the ankle injury? Well, he played 34 minutes. How will he look coming off the ankle injury? He played great. He didn't look like he was hindered at all by the ankle injury. Played great, had 23 points, 11 assists, double-double. Probably could have gotten more than that if he hadn't fouled out, when he did late in the game. So no concern for me personally whatsoever with LaMelo Ball. He looks fine. He looks like he's ready to take on a full load of minutes. His regular, the regular amount of court time and floor time that he normally would get. He looks like he was fine taking all that on last game against Detroit. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, man. The Hawks are just falling off the bandwagon, 1-6 straight up against the spread last 7 games. Gotta lean towards the Hornets, but I like Mason Plumlee over 9.5 rebounds tonight. No Clint Capella down there. I think 240.5 total should be a lot of opportunities for Plumlee to get some rebounds here, over 9.5, and also lean towards Charlotte.
All right, lean towards Charlotte and some prop looks there for Billy in this one. All right, Orlando and Boston. Boston 12.5 point home favorites, 225 now the total in this game between the Magic and the Celtics. Celtics are back home after a 6-game road trip that really went all over the place. It started with Brooklyn, Toronto, then they went out west to Phoenix, then they went to California, faced Golden State, the Clippers, and the Lakers. They end up having a winning record on the road trip, 4-2 in those 6 games, straight up and ATS. Losses to the Warriors and the Clippers. They ended it with a overtime win against the Lakers, but man, it wasn't an easy game for the Boston Celtics. 122-118 overtime victory against the Lakers. Now they're back home. First game after that trip. Not the greatest of spots here for Boston, and I'm all over this Orlando team right now. You guys know that. We've been backing them quite a bit. I think the spot advantage is actually on their side here. They catch Boston off the long road trip. Now, is there questions about Orlando, what they've done in this win streak? Toronto's kind of struggling right now. They beat them twice. Atlanta can't get out of their own way. They did beat the Clippers in overtime, though, at home as well during this win streak. Obviously, this is a step up for the Magic, but they get Boston off that road trip. Is that energy going to be there for the Celtics this first game back? It's a tough spot. I like what I'm seeing, though, from the Magic. I'm seeing them improve defensively. I'm seeing the young kids all play better. The Wagner both Wagners are playing well. Fultz at the point guard spot's been solid, and Banchero and Bull in particular have been excellent during this stretch for the Orlando Magic. I'm taking the points here, plus 12.5 tonight with Orlando. Riding this hot team, both straight up and ATS, undervalued, and to me, they continue to be that way. What do you think here, Skee, Magic and Celtics?
Yeah, I would have to agree. Boston, I know they've at least had 5 games in a row on the road. So returning home from a road trip like that, going back all the way to 2019, they're only 40.6% winners. So that says fade Boston tonight. You mentioned all the good things about Atlanta. I look at the last 5 game stats. They've been a better offensive rated team and rebounding team. And they've been a good defensive rated team. They're top 10 in all of those categories last 5 games. So they're a little bit at a rest disadvantage here, 1 to 2. But I still couldn't lay all these points with Boston, especially not that they haven't played together or anything before, but I think Robert Williams is supposed to play today. Al Horford's going to be back in the lineup. Like, just a lot of changes for this Boston team. So, yeah, they could probably get the win here, but is everything going to be flowing like it has been, like in the beginning of the year? I'm not so certain. And they've been losing some games lately anyway. So, Orlando looks like the right side to me.
All right, like in Orlando as well. Billy, what do you think, Magic Celtics?
This is going to be my first backward of the day. I'm not going to lie.
All right, we go to Brooklyn and Toronto. Brooklyn Nets 1.5 point road favorites, 225.5 the total in this game. We've got obviously on the Brooklyn side of things, it looks like relatively healthy. I mean, Steph, not Steph, is questionable with a hamstring injury, hamstring tightness right now. He missed the Saturday game against the Pacers as they try to manage through the ankle injury that he's gone through. But now the hamstring is also popped up for him in terms of an injury that's bothering him. But we'll see if he's able to go. Right now, game time decision. Patty Mills out for the Nets as well. It's still Precious Achiuwa, OG Anunoby, and Otto Porter all remaining out for the Raptors, who couldn't even rely on their usually strong home court the other night. Not a good finish to the game, not closing games right, not playing defense at crunch time, not getting stops when they need to. The defensive side of the court has just completely fallen off for the Raptors during this rough stretch of theirs. I don't know. It looks like it's a very cheap price here to back Brooklyn, and we in this one. I know it's Toronto at home where they've been better, but we used that argument against Sacramento, and we saw them just unable to execute down the stretch and lose a game they probably should have won. So I'd only look at the Brooklyn side here. What do you think, Skee, Nets and Raptors?
I was thinking Brooklyn at first, man. The whole time I was looking at this game, they got the rest advantage. They've been playing better. Last 5 game stats all favor Brooklyn here. Why is this spread like this? That's what I was thinking. And if all of that is true, they're only -1. And I just think Toronto's only lost 4 games at home. As bad as they looked on the road, it's just a different team when they're at the house. So, and I think about the last time these teams played, Brooklyn was beating their ass, man. At the end of the first quarter, Toronto was down like almost 30 points, it felt like. So that's the kind of things that you remember. And I would expect Toronto to come out at least strong early in the game, probably first quarter or first half or something like that. But it's when I look at all of that in totality, it's like the line is low for a reason. I think the Raptors get you home with the winning ticket tonight.
All right, the Raptors pivoting a little bit, like Brooklyn initially, now like in Toronto here in this one. You're right; they were just destroying the Raptors the last time they played each other in Brooklyn. I remember that. And Raptors fought back valiantly, but can't dig whatever that hole was. I think they were down by like 30 at one point, and you just can't be down by that big of a deficit and expect to win a basketball game. What do you think here, Billy? Nets Raptors.
I like Kevin Durant over 27.5 points. No OG. I said Angie, man. Whew. OG Anunoby is going to be out for this one. KD's had 29 plus points in 8 of his last 10 games. The only 2 missed being against Toronto, but OG was in for both of those 2 games. This should be a good spot for him.
All right, OG Anjanoshi, or something close to that for Billy Briz with the prop tonight in this game. All right, next up, as we continue along, it is Indiana and Cleveland. Cleveland 8-point home favorites here, 222.5 being the total. in this game. Boy, I'm pissed off I didn't take Cleveland the other night because it was just their road issues that kept me off that game against Dallas. I said, but they lost to San Antonio on the road as 9.5-point favorites. I got to believe that's a wake-up call. They'll play a lot better tonight, but I said there's still Cleveland issues on the road kept me off the Cavs against Dallas, and sure enough, they beat Dallas 105-90, wire-to-wire job. I mean, they got up big early, and they never looked back from that point, so it was a great bounce-back performance by Cleveland in that game. Indiana, meanwhile, they're off their own quality performance, 125-119. They beat the Warriors in their last game, snapping a 2-game losing streak. We'll see if they can continue that momentum here as they go on the road, where they have not been as good at home, just like so many other teams this year in the NBA. You know, when it comes to Cleveland at home, I ain't fading this team. It's just a question of, do I want to lay 8 in this spot? I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight. They do play Dallas tomorrow night at home. It's a bigger game, bigger opponent, than playing Indiana tonight. That is something you want to keep in mind. That being said, Cavaliers are pass for me. Ultimately, I think I'm going to pass on taking Cleveland at home tonight. But at home with that 12-2 straight up, 11-2-1 against the spread record at home, I ain't going against that. What do you think here, Skee? Indiana, Cleveland?
Yeah, I look at what these teams have done. Well, really, you could look at what Indiana is. They're both 9-5 to the under. Indiana on the road, Cleveland at home. Looking at the last 2 weeks, they're combined 11-4 to the under. But more specifically, where they're at today, Indiana on the road, they are 3-1, and Cleveland is 4-0 to the under. And if you look at both of their games combined, it's only making it to about 220, which gets us under the 223 that I took the under at today. So I just look at all that. I know how Cleveland plays. If they're the favorite and they're at home, it's most likely going to be at their pace, and they're playing at the slowest pace in the last 5 games. So I look at that. I know their defense is going to be there, and it just seems like an under game to me. Under 223 is what I played here.
All right, liking a slower pace, under 223 here, Pacers and Cavs for Skee. All right, Billy, what do you think, Indy, Cleveland?
Yeah, like Tyrese Halliburton over 8.5 assists. I mean, it's gone down a little bit because of his last 2 recent performances, but he still covered last 3 out of his last 5 games. Should be a good spot here against Cleveland to get back on the bandwagon here for Halliburton's assist.
All right, next up, we've got Golden State taking on Cleveland. Or not Cleveland, Golden State, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, 9.5, 10-point home favorites, 225 was the total, down to 220 now. Big move toward the under in this game. And once again, as soon as you see the money come in against Golden State, you know why that is. This is a team that's regularly rested key players and their best players, especially on the road. It looks like they're doing so again tonight. Only Klay Thompson is still a possibility to play tonight, questionable with a left knee, but they've already ruled out Steph Curry, who, of course, if you'll remember, it looks like he's going to be out a month. He got injured the other night against Indiana in that game, so don't look like we're going to see him anytime soon with that shoulder injury. Will not need surgery, but it is going to keep him out for about a month here moving forward, including, of course, tonight. Draymond Green out, Andrew Wiggins still out, so there you go. It's a bunch of key cogs out for the Warriors, adding on to the fact that the Golden State Warriors continue to be a traveling nightmare. It's literally and figuratively, that's what they are, a traveling nightmare for their fans, for their backers. 2-13 on the road this year, straight up, 3-12 against the spread on the road. Obviously, for me, I would go Sixers or nothing. Do I want to lay 10 with? I mean, Philly could lay the smackdown. It wouldn't shock me, but this is a flighty bunch, Philadelphia. There's been times before where they've had opportunities with a full lineup, a full complement against a depleted team, resting players, and they still have flopped in some of these spots at times over the course of the season. So it's only a Philly bet for me, but I don't think it's going to be a Philly bet for me. What do you think here, Skee? Golden State, Philly.
Backwood.
Yep, too flighty. I'm sorry, they are Philadelphia right now, and especially in this kind of point spread range. Too flighty for me to back them, even though there's no way for me to get to Golden State. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, Best bet on the card for me today, Sixers first quarter minus 3.5. Sixers are going to smack this Warriors team early on. It's Friday night in Philadelphia. We've been home for the last couple of games. We're going to ring the bell. Joel Embiid's going to absolutely feast on this front court. He plays 10 out of the 12 first quarter minutes. Usually that's his rotation. And if we get Joel Embiid for 10 out of 12 minutes against the Golden State Warriors, that's where I want my money to be. Biggest bet of the day.
There you go. Right there. First quarter. Philadelphia 76ers. You're probably better off taking a segment of the game if you're going to back Philly rather than that full game number, whether it's first quarter, first half. Might be a little bit of a safer option. Just trust them to be ready to go early, pounce on this team. Don't let it get to the point where maybe they fall asleep with a lead and let them go through the back door, which I've seen this Philadelphia team do before. All right, we've got Minnesota and Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, 2.5 point home favorites, 233.5 is the total in this game. Obviously, the Minnesota Timberwolves have really been a disappointment. I mean, to see them sitting here 2 games below 500 at 13-15, it's not where we expected them to be. They're a fade for me. Plain and simple right now. 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. I took the Clippers against them the other night, and I'm not a big Clipper fan. I said that on Wednesday. I don't love laying points with this Clippers team, but this Minnesota team's horrible right now, and Clippers are actually showing me a little something now that Paul George and Kawhi are finally playing multiple games in a row and not sitting out. And sure enough, and look, they didn't start the game well, the Clippers. Minnesota got off to a good first quarter, first half, but as that game went on, the defense tightened up for the Clippers, and Minnesota, their defense slipped up down the stretch, and Clippers pulled away late, got the win, got the cover. It's just not a team that I'm liking what I'm seeing right now from the Timberwolves. They're also banged up. Karl Anthony Towns still out. D'Angelo Russell's been banged up the last couple games, questionable with the knee injury after he didn't play against the Clippers. You got Rudy Gobert questionable as well for this game due to a left ankle sprain. So you're talking about multiple key cogs that may miss for the Timberwolves tonight. On the flip side, for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Baisley is going to be out for them. They'll definitely miss him a little bit. But you look at this Thunder team, back to being a point spread machine. They've really been a point spread machine all season. They're entering tonight at 17-11 against the spread for the season. But the last 8 games, they're 6-2 ATS. They beat the Dallas, or they covered against Dallas, but were close against them, lost by 7. They lost by 2 to the Miami Heat in their last game. They've had wins on their resume. They already beat Minnesota once this year. In Minnesota, they beat Atlanta on the road. Thunder for me. Even laying points, I want no part of Minnesota right now. Skee, how about you? Timberwolves. I like the over as well in this game. That's another thing I like. Side and total. Thunder over the total for me as well. Skee, what do you think? Minnesota, OKC.
Yeah, the only way I would play these two teams would be to the over. I know OKC is 9-3 to the over at the house. They're both top 5 in pace the last 5 games, but the offense hasn't really been much to like. I would really want D'Angelo Russell in there. I wouldn't care if Gobert is ruled out. That would probably even help. So neither team is shooting the 3 well this season. They're both bottom 10 shooting it and defending it. It's just, I think they'll get up and down. And if they're going to play up tempo, good opportunity for some points. So lean over in the game. And really, even though OKC plays tomorrow, Minnesota is another team I feel like closest to like Atlanta. I just want nothing to do with them. So, lean OKC, lean over.
Yeah, we're in that time of the season now. That's probably why I'm doing well. Now, the last, I would say, few days to up to a week in the NBA. It's been my best week now of the season. I'm targeting these teams that are just struggling, and the betting markets aren't catching up to how bad they are right now. Atlanta's one, OKC's another, and conversely, teams that are outperforming the betting markets, and they haven't caught up to how much they're improving, like in Orlando, and we're capitalizing on teams like that right now. And that's what you can do at this time of year with a big enough sample size. What do you think here, Billy?
Yeah, man, Timberwolves have looked absolutely horrible. 1-5 ATS last 6 road games, 0-5 ATS last 5 games against a team with a losing record. So they're just playing down the competition, and then just overall bad form, 3-7 ATS in our last 10 games overall. But I like what you're talking about on the over-under. Head-to-head, this is what stood out to me. Head-to-head, the over is 9-2 in the last 11 meetings between these two teams, 233.5. I would want D'Angelo Russell in here to hit the over, but man, feels like if D Russ is in, then hit the over. But if he's out, it could just be a thunder spot here.
There we go. All right, next up, we've got part 2 of the sequel, Knicks and Bulls in the Windy City. Same 2 teams in the same venue as the other night. We've got Chicago, 2.5-point home favorites, 225.5 the total in this one. Chicago Bulls lose in overtime to the Knicks, 128-120 in their last game. That game, by the way, flew over the total, 3 straight overs for the Bulls now after that performance. Revenge spot for Chicago. I get it. I don't know. Still love the idea of laying points with them. I mean, there are only 2 victories, Dallas and Washington at home during this stretch of basketball where they've gone just 2-5 in their last 7 games straight up. Knicks are playing well. 5 straight wins and covers, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread. I mean, to me right now, I'm looking at this as a situation where if I'm betting something in this game, it would be Knicks or nothing. I don't want to lay points right now with the Bulls. I'm not going to because they're the team that lost previously. They're going to be looking to bounce back, and maybe you get them with a little bit more better effort on the defensive end coming off that loss. But I'm not laying points with Chicago. I lean New York, but I'll be off the game. What do you think here, Skee?
I'm gonna be on Chicago again. In that last game, we didn't think Brunson was gonna play, and he ended up playing and scoring a season high 30 points. So his foot wasn't affecting him too much. And before that game, the Knicks were shooting the worst 3-point percentage in the league at 31%, and they shot 53% in that game. And I mean, that game went to overtime. So I just think if you take away all those both outliers, like Chicago can easily win this game. They came back from down 14 already. They just got to start stronger and play a little bit better defense on the perimeter. And if Knicks come back down to earth on their shooting, it's going to be a Chicago win. All 11 of their wins have been by 4+. So I don't care about whatever the point spread is, as long as it's lower than that. And I usually play these games where the favorite lost in the first matchup and they're playing in these short turnaround trips. If it's 4 days or less, they're 59.8% against the spread. I think that's going back to 2019-ish, something like that. But I like the Bulls here. I'm banking on them to bounce back. So Chicago for me.
All right, Chicago bounce back here for Skee in this one against the New York Knicks. Hey, Billy, we talked about this on the Wednesday show, and it was you, me, and Dutch. And we showed the picture on the screen on the show, that little picture at the Christmas party. There's Jalen Brunson in a fucking walking boot looking like he's just can barely move around there in that little party. What is he, playing possum with everybody? And sure enough, he's in the lineup that night against Chicago, and there he is, not only in the lineup, but playing great. Like there's nothing at all bothering.
No, he hit the game-winning shot, Babano.
Yeah, I mean, so just talk about playing everybody for a damn fool. It's what it looked like there. Honestly. But what do you think here tonight, Billy, the rematch?
Yeah, man, that hurt my pockets pretty bad. So, a little bit of recency bias going into this one. The Knicks are just 5-0 last 5 games overall, and they've just been playing really good basketball of recent. More importantly, though, second time these 2 teams are seeing each other, and Skee was talking about some of those Knicks shooting numbers. They got to fall back down to earth. Head-to-head, the under 6-2 in the last 8 meetings overall. I could definitely see this game going under 225.5.
All right, liking the under here is Billy with the Knicks and the Bulls. All right, Portland, Dallas. Dallas Mavericks, 4-point home favorites, 226 is the total in this game. Huge move up in the total. I can't argue with it right now. Portland is still sizzling. They're hot as a firecracker offensively right now. 120, 124, 133, 128. Shooting or scoring in their last 4 games. They have shot the ball at a better than 50% clip significantly in their last 3 games. I mean, they are rolling. Dame Lillard can't be stopped at the moment. He's been terrific during this stretch. I think definitely that's part of, and I like the over too. I agree with it, even though Dallas can go either way with their totals. But Dallas is just playing inconsistent basketball. They've dropped 3 straight against the spread. They got crushed at Chicago. They barely beat Oklahoma City at home, didn't cover. They get drilled by Cleveland in their last game. This is not a Mavericks team That has been great. And if you look at their numbers laying points, well, they're not laying a huge number here, but especially when they've laid big points this year, they've been horrible. I can't even state it enough how bad they have been laying bigger points. Now, they're only laying 4 here, but I don't care. I still have no issue fading this team right now. They're not playing their best basketball. I like what I'm seeing out of Portland. Their shooting stroke is there and then some at the moment. I'm on the Blazers here with the 4.5 points down to 4. I still like it at +4, and I agree with the move up in the total as well. What do you think, Skee? Portland, Dallas?
Yeah, no way I would be laying points with Dallas until they start winning by margin. And Portland, all they've done is put money in their backers' pockets the last 2 weeks. They haven't, missed a game as far as covering. So Portland, only way for the side. As far as the total, both teams playing bottom 5 in pace the last 5 games. Both teams have a game tomorrow. So if it starts to get out of hand one way or the other, I can see players starting to get sat down, saving their minutes so they can, play again the next day. And that results in under so far when both teams have a game on deck the following day, 14-7 to the under. So under 226.5 is where I got it. And I like the Blazers too.
All right. Liking the Blazers as well in this one, plus the total. All right. What do you think here, Billy?
Man, watching the Mavericks play basketball of recent, it's just sad, man. I feel like we're getting Luka's like this era is Allen Iverson, man. Dude needs help, man. And Cuban brings in Kemba Walker. I don't think that's helping shit, to be honest with you. The way the Portland Trail Blazers have been playing basketball for recent, if the Mavericks weren't at home, they probably should be favorites here in this one. Hard lean towards the Blazers here. I honestly want to put it on my card. 4-0 ATS last 4 games overall. 6-0 ATS last 6 games overall. 4-0 ATS last 4 games following a win by more than 10 points. So, Blazers have been playing good basketball. Mavericks don't really play good at home. Are we taking the Blazers money line? Because I usually feel like a lot of these times where it's like 3.5, 4 points, the underdog, if they're going to cover, they're usually going to outright win.
Next up, your final game of this Friday slate, Denver Nuggets, LA Lakers. Denver, 1.5 point road favorites here, 238 being the total in this game. The Lakers, I'll say this about the Lakers. You're seeing them compete here the last few games. The Philadelphia game took the Sixers to overtime. They beat the Detroit Pistons on the road after that. A valiant effort against obviously one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference in the NBA and the Boston Celtics after a really rough start. They were down by 15 points at halftime of that game, and they ended up rallying back with a strong second half, forced overtime, and then ended up losing 122 to 118 to the Celtics in that game. That's a tough one, though. Can you bounce back, ramp it up again if you're the Lakers, and be ready for another very good basketball team here taking on the Nuggets? We'll have to wait and see. LeBron and AD should be in, good to go, it looks like, for them. The only major absence right now for the, if you call it major, is Toscano Anderson. But other than that, pretty healthy basketball team, the Lakers. It's still pretty much only Michael Porter Jr. out for the Nuggets. Everybody else is going to be accounted for and in this game for them tonight here. They've won 3 in a row. They beat Utah at home, Washington at home, at Portland. We'll see if they can keep it going here in this one. On the road, the Nuggets on the season are 9-7, so it's a winning record. Not great, but they've obviously been a winning team on the road. I like the dynamics here because the last time the Nuggets played the Lakers was in LA. They ended up losing 121 to 110. Not a great performance by any stretch of the imagination. I like Denver here to pick them. That's the side I like. It's just, to me, the team that I think is going to be the better team, is the better team, will find a way. Lost the last time they played the Lakers. I think that matters going into this game. So for me, it's Denver at around to pick them. What do you think here, Skee? Nuggets, Lakers?
I would look more towards the total. And, Lakers last, 2, maybe 3 weeks, last 9 games, they're 7-9 or 7-2 to the over.
Yep.
And those games averaging like 240 something, 246, I think, points per game. So I don't think we have to be scared of this high total. They're playing at the 3rd fastest pace in the league last 5 games. And surprisingly, Denver, they don't usually play up tempo. They're at 13th. That's fast for them, in my opinion. So looking at both teams defensively, last 5 games, both bottom 10 there. The only way I can think is an up and down, up tempo game, and no defense played. A lot of points. I like it up and over.
I wouldn't argue with that. This total. We've seen Denver also kind of trend over. Lakers, 4 straight of their games have gone over the total. 7-1 to the over in their last 8 games. And we've seen 240. We've seen 241, 255, 239. Against Washington, that was 249. The Milwaukee game was 262. Portland 237. You get my point. I mean, a lot of high 230s, 240s, 250s. You even got a 260s in terms of total points in Lakers games recently. And this total, it is high, it seems, on the surface at 238. But when you actually start to look at the recent results, still find a way maybe this game to get over that 238 number. What do you think here, Billy?
I'm right there with you guys. To even add towards that, the Lakers have cashed 4 straight overs, and 7 of the last 8 games have gone over. For the Nuggets, they've gone over 6 of their last 10. I think the over is the spot here.
All right, liking the over here with the as well, the Nuggets and Lakers. Clean sweep on the over. I think we all kind of go in that direction as far as the total goes for this matchup here, Nuggets and Lakers. All right, great stuff. Thanks to everyone in the chat, by the way, for joining us. Let's run up the likes. 216 live viewers. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. It's the end of the week, so hit that like button. We appreciate it here on the NBA Pub Hub show. Again, we've got lots of stuff coming up on the channel this weekend. We're going to have live streaming over the weekend, college basketball live stream with tomorrow. We've got the college basketball net profit show back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Me, Connor Mack, and Davy Cab will get the Saturday college basketball card previewed for you tomorrow. We got NFL Pub Hub on Sunday. Sharpie's show, the Pub Zone at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday through the afternoon NFL slate. Live Sunday night football bet stream. Sunday night with Patriots and Raiders, and then, of course, Monday night with Rams and Packers. So lots going on this weekend at Pub Sports Radio. So make sure you check out all the great shows, and make sure you check out and become a Pub Sports Radio YouTube member, $4.99 a month. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check it, sign up and become a member, $4.99 a month for the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. All right. Best bets coming up to wrap it up for a Friday right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, and manscaped.com. Promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase, free shipping, Lawnmower 4.0 or any Manscaped product with promo code PubSports. All right, best bets to wrap it up for a Friday. Skee, what have you got for us? A weekender best bet here on the Pub Hub.
I'll go to Dallas and Portland, and I'm going to take that game under. It's going to be slow-paced game, and they both play tomorrow, so they're going to save some of those minutes. Give me the under.
All right, there we go. Portland, Dallas, under 226.5. Best bet for Skee Profit. Billy Briz, Friday best bet.
Best bet for me, we're going to Philadelphia, and we're taking the Sixers early here, -3.5. And favorite prop of today, we're going to go with Halliburton over 8.5 assists at -130.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to bet Philly in that game, that's probably the best way to attack it, first quarter and or first half. First quarter, Philadelphia for Billy Briz against the shorthanded Golden State Warriors. You can get that at -3.5 right now, Philly in the first quarter. And my best bet here for this Friday card, Lots of good options here in terms of best bet material. But I'm gonna end up going with I'm gonna go with them again, Orlando. They've been good to me. They catch Boston off that road trip, and they're getting a lot of points, playing better. Now they got to show they can do it on the road. They've got to show they can do it against a better opponent. This is probably the best team Orlando's faced during this stretch. But you're getting 12.5. You're not getting an optimal spot in a situational or travel spot for the Celtics off the long West Coast trip. I like Orlando. They're playing better ball. They're still undervalued. Plus 12.5. Orlando Magic against Boston for my best bet for this Friday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the NBA Pub Up. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. And a reminder, we'll be back on Monday, brand new week of the NBA Pub Hub, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We have NBA all 5 days next week, Monday to Friday. So the show will be on for its full weekday schedule next week, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. And on Monday, of course, it'll be OG Monday with me, Skee, Dutch, and Wham. So make sure you join us on Monday for the NBA Pub Up. For Billy Briz, for Skee Profit, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and a great weekend. We'll see you again Monday for another edition of the NBA Pub Up right here, Pub Sports Radio.